from Wight Architects is going to be highlighting the results of the feasibility study.
Thank you. I'm Leanne Meyer-Smith, a licensed architect with Wight Company, and with me tonight is Byron Wines. He's our Director of Land Development and a civil engineer with our firm. Just a little bit about our credibility. I don't want to take too much time, but we are an architectural firm here in Illinois, and 60% of our business is with school districts in your area. We're a firm that's been in business over 75 years, so we have a strong background in schools. Not only do we offer architectural design, we have everything in-house. Structural, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering, civil engineering, environmental, as well as we have a construction company in-house with integrated services. So not only can we design the building, we are able, if you so choose, to build it, which will be helpful with the tight schedule that we have here, just so you know a little bit about us. We were hired to look at the feasibility of this process. Can we move this building onto the Heinz site? How will that work and how will that impact education? I'm just going to run through this a little bit faster since we will have a community forum with an opportunity for a lot more detail. Some of the benefits of this will be some cost and resource savings by combining institutions together. There will be savings realized through a lot of different processes, including energy, operating, and maintenance costs. Getting a newer building and consolidating will result in future savings, long-term savings for the district in their annual operating budget. It also gives a great opportunity, a unique opportunity for a school district to renovate not only the Heinz building, but move over and have all new space on that site. So it's a wonderful opportunity for the kids of all ages in this district, and one in this economy you don't see very often. As well as I've been a licensed architect for over 20 years, I've never had a school district with an offer to buy their property. So very unique to even be able to sell your school property. This is the Heinz site, just to take you there right away. Oops, sorry. Just to let you know, we did study the amount of square footage that your buildings will need, and we're basing everything off of your needs for your enrollment now as a little bit of growth too. This is the Heinz school site. Many of you are probably familiar with it. This is the existing plan that you see when you're there now. This end of the building.
No, but maybe
Can I borrow your pointer? Alright.
And now it's not working.
Oh, and let me turn it on. There we go. Just a big button.
Alright. This portion of the building, if you look at the next slide when we show it, we are suggesting that this portion of the building be removed. It's the portion that actually has some maintenance needs right now. So just so you can take a look at that when I switch to the next slide. This is the proposed floor plan of the new facility. I'll take you through that just a little bit. But you can see that the gray areas that we're showing in this section are the parts of the existing school that remain. However, we are infilling a large courtyard that's there now. What will happen is that the main entry will be relocated to this position. Right now, it's along here, and you come in next to kind of the kitchen maintenance area and work your way into the office, which is in some location right here. We will be switching the main entry to a new location. This is new space built in the front for a consolidated administrative suite. All administration will be in one location in this part of the building. There will be a public, or kind of the public or shared areas in the center of the school, a large library media center, a multi-purpose area, community space, a STEM science area, and some of the counseling support offices will all be in the middle. Along this side, we have some new classrooms in this location, and most of the primary grades will be along this wing of the building. The existing gymnasium multi-purpose area would stay for cafeteria purposes and multi-purpose when it's not being used for lunch. The kindergarten pre-K area will be expanded and located in this area, and this will be a large art center here off of an open courtyard for outdoor classroom space. This wing along this side will be primarily the middle school function. So while we are all in one building, we have the ability to be schools within schools. And this is a large new gymnasium facility and music classrooms and another science lab on this end of the building. There.
Leanne, I did want to mention too that this is a draft.
Yes. Again, very good, Jamie. This is a feasibility study. Nothing is set in stone, but we did have to make sure there was enough space on the site to fit a proper program for all of the kids on this site, with a little bit of room to grow as well. And these are just some ideas, some of the new thoughts in education, what we can do with existing classrooms as well as new. Some of the trends are to have a lot of flexible space within the classrooms, make sure all of the walls and surfaces in the classroom are teaching surfaces. There's no front or back to classrooms any longer. A lot of times there are smaller areas and breakout rooms in classrooms for collaboration and group projects. So this is a really great opportunity to improve your schools and be ready for the future of education. Just a couple of things. This is kind of a 3D perspective of what a lot of classrooms today that we're building look like. And not only just building new, you can do this same kind of treatment to existing classrooms by removing some of the center walls and reconfiguring the surfaces, the finishes, and the furniture becomes very, very important. A lot of flexibility in these classrooms. At this time, I'm going to ask Byron to talk a little bit about some of the site development, because this is kind of a tight program. The site and how we work the building becomes very important.
I only got one more slide after this, then you're going to take over again.
All right.
So, I'm sure most of you are probably familiar with the site. Probably dropped off kids there, but basically the site, it's only 9.2 acres, just so you know, so most people really don't know what the size of that is. It gives us a limited space to work with. And you have National on your eastbound border, you got Shermer on the west. Right now this is a combat easement all along the north. Parent drop-off, and the buses come off of Belfort. And probably a lot of you understand the conflict that happens there with parent drop-off and the buses. And then they exit down on Marion. So why don't you switch to our proposed site? So our goal when we're developing these sites is really trying to increase safety for the students, parent drop-off, bus separation. So we're trying to separate everything on the site. So what we did is we're proposing two new entrances, one off of National, the other one's going to be off of Shermer. The original plan that Leanne talked about, we had pre-K through kindergarten on this end of the building. So we had a turnaround where this would be for pre-K and kindergarten drop-off off of National. The bus drop-off will stay in the same location, coming down off of Belfort, and then exiting at Marion. And we're proposing a new entrance off of Shermer, and this would be mainly for elementary and for middle school kids. Now, we know queuing is always an issue, cars stacking, so we have incorporated a lot of queuing space all along here, and there's queuing space all the way around this loop. We're providing parking for staff and some visitor parking, so we're maintaining the existing parking on the south, and this is new additional parking. There is very limited green space on the site, and this is what we have left over. It can accommodate a small baseball field or a small soccer field. There is a stormwater detention component that we have to meet. It's a requirement of MWRD in the village. Since we're trying to, keep as much green space as possible, we're anticipating doing underground stormwater detention. So we figured that's going to be underneath the parking areas here and probably underneath the drop-off. We think we're going to need two locations. One of our specialties at Wight is really sustainable site design. So we're really trying to incorporate the best management practices. So we would like to do permeable brick pavers here. bioswales and rain gardens within these center areas. So water quality is definitely an issue that we want to address, and it's something that most municipalities and that are going to these days, and we want to keep at that velocity. We know we're going to have to be doing some traffic studies for the new entrances off of Shermer and off of National. So we will be doing a traffic study, and we will be coordinating that activity with Morton Grove. They do have a traffic safety committee, and we want to make sure that we're not causing any undue, cars queuing along Shermer and that type of stuff. But drop-offs are staggered between elementary and middle school, so we don't anticipate a problem right now, but we'll find that out when we do the traffic. So, yes.
Now, most of the traffic goes between Belfort and Marion. Will those streets be cut off so there is less traffic?
It won't be cut off. It's still gonna be the same movement through there, but we're limiting this to bus traffic only. We're proposing to have a gate here to control drive-through traffic here that the school can open and close, mainly during drop-off areas to control the flow of traffic. But we weren't proposing to cut off Belfort or Marion. Some things that came up, we did meet with Morton Grove about fire protection and other safety aspects. The length of this building really is almost about 600 feet long. It's kind of deceiving, but it is. So we will be proposing a fire lane around the backside of the building with a new water main we'll have to construct for fire protection. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. So we can get to that.
Thanks, Byron. I know this is kind of hard to read, but just for the purposes of the study again, so we could gauge how fast we need to move, this is a proposed concept schedule for when we need to get started, and we really need to get started right now, because as Byron mentioned, one of the key factors in the schedule is working with the Cook County Metropolitan Water Reclamation District, MWRD for short. They have their process is always about 6 months minimum to get a permit to allow you to build on a site. They're very concerned with stormwater and our natural resources, so we need to get started right now, and so that we could prepare a submittal to them with all the engineering for the site by May 16th to make this work. We'd like to start construction on the buildings themselves in the fall of 2011. And the way that it will probably work best, we will construct the new pieces of the plan that were on either end of Hines School, so that we can keep the school operational and keep everyone in business while we build the new pieces on either end and do some of the site work. And then we'll move into the middle of the building during the summer. So while the kids leave, as soon as they leave in June, the middle part, the existing part of Hines will be vacated and renovated, so that we can have the whole entire school ready to open and get all the kids in the fall of 2012. But I want to clarify what that means to be done in fall of 2012. We will have all of the educational spaces ready and kids in classrooms. Then we will probably be finishing some of the larger areas. For instance, the new gym. We may need to still be finishing up the inside. We may need to still be putting books on the shelves in the library. So everyone will need to be patient and flexible on taking the fall of 2012 to do all of the finer touch-up work and all the dotting the I's and crossing the T's, because it is a very aggressive schedule, but we don't want to miss out on this opportunity, and we can accommodate that with a lot of good construction management. We've heard about the cost before, so I won't go through this, but we have studied the costs and tried to anticipate what is needed from our experience with schools. And then we've also, for the board's benefit, projected a cash flow analysis so that they know what they need and what they need in the next 3 months to get going. Anyone have questions?
Yeah.
You had mentioned that you would be creating a facility with room to grow. Will you be more horizontally or vertically?
Right now, we've proposed that the plan fits about 580 students, and then depending on a little bit of growth within the building right now, you could get up to about 600 students. If there is significant growth in the district, which is not projected, we would consider planning the building for a second story over some of the new areas. you'd have to plan and put in, room for the stairwell and room for the elevator and plan the foundations accordingly, but right now, we'd really like to get everybody, all the kids on one level. It really helps with the teaching and the curriculum, especially at the elementary level. It's very difficult for them to go up and downstairs. You waste a lot of time during the day. So we're proposing everything on one level now, but we will plan for some growth that could happen 10 years out.
Oh, and another question, when you said fall of 2012, or construction beginning fall of 2011, the current facility here, this one would still remain as is, so the
Until we
students
can
would.
move it.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you
Actually,
very much.
do you have a question going back to Mr. Wade? When would the car dealership want to take possession?
They've indicated they'd like to take possession in June 2012.
So our district office people would have to relocate probably to a room in Hines until, or we might come over to the village if you have.